The GPS acts like a high-tech map which uses satellites in space to guide you on Earth.
Okay, I'm honing in on Tom Keenan with my GPS. He's going to explain how all this works. Hi there, Tom.
Hello, Tina.
And you're out in the great outdoors, too. You look great.
In the park in downtown Calgary.
Yeah. So tell me where this technology comes from.
From the U.S. military. It's a peace dividend. They put up satellites a few years ago to help soldiers on the field to navigate their way around and to basically contact the satellites from a little receiver. Originally, these cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and like all technology, it's gotten so cheap that now anybody can have one for $500 or $1,000.
Oh, amazing. Okay, so explain to me how it works.
Okay, we're going to turn it on now. We flip the little antenna up, and I push this button.
Right, the little light bulb button.
That's right, little light bulb button. And what happens is it will now start searching the satellites. It searches the sky, looking for how many satellites, and it shows me now which ones it's finding as it finds a signal. Typically, it can see 3 or 4 satellites. It's best if you're in an open area. So there we got one. Number 23 is on, number 21, 17. They're all coming up now. I now have enough satellites that it can actually find where it is.
So these satellites, these numbers are the number of real satellites. Like you're now connected to satellite 23 or whatever.
That's right. There are 24 satellites circling in an orbit around the Earth, and basically what it does is they each send out a very precise time signal. This measures how long it took for the signal to get from the satellite to here, uses a technique called triangulation. It tells me that I am at 5103.356 north latitude, 11404.178 west longitude.
Okay, now tell me, what's triangulation?
Triangulation just means taking the difference between different sites. It's a technique surveyors use. So essentially, you couldn't get this all from one satellite, but as long as you can see 3 or preferably 4 satellites, it can tell you to basically within 15 meters where you are. If you happen to be on the inside in the U.S. military, this thing can actually take it down much more precisely, probably to be about 1 meter. And that's how they target missiles and so on using this same technology.
Oh, isn't that so it's like having a little cruise missile in your hand here.
That's right.
Just what you'd want, of course. Okay, so then what? So you've connected to your 3 satellites that are going to show you how things go. Then what?
Well, first thing is a reality check. I've got a globe here to make sure I'm going to find Canada on it and see if, in fact, we are in the right place. And this latitude and longitude puts me, yes, exactly in Alberta, Canada. So I've actually I've got the right kind of data there.
But does it put you right in that park?
Well, yes, it does, actually. They could probably get me within 15 meters now. In fact, some car rental companies are talking about extending this so you could actually drive around with this with a map in your car, and it would tell you, make a left turn at the next intersection.
Holy, okay, so now we know where you are. Now what?
I'm going to navigate with it. At my home last night, I set in a coordinate for home, and now if I just push go to, it shows me a little thing that looks like a runway to point me toward my home, tells me how far away I am. If I started walking that way now, let's say I can walk maybe 6 kilometers an hour, it would actually work out how long it takes me to get to my home and give me an estimated time of arrival.
But does it say, like, turn left now?
Well, it would give me a line, and that's, of course, the issue in the city, because if I did that, I'd probably get killed. A car would run into me, or I'd try to walk through a building. Where this is really useful is in somewhere, obviously, like flying a plane or on water. Mm-hmm. Most of the people buying these seem to be amateur boaters who want to have a good navigation device.
So if you've keyed in, you have to know the coordinates of where you're going, right?
That's right. You can either do that, or if you've been there before, you can put it in. So one of the things I put in, I took this up to the mountains, I put in the coordinates of Sunshine Village. So this thing would now lead me directly to Sunshine Village to go skiing if I was able to climb over a 12,000-foot mountain, which I'm not.
But on a practical basis, who knows the coordinates of anything? Like, I mean, how would I use this? I don't know the coordinates. Say I want to go for a smart lunch, which is very much like me. How would I know? I mean, I'd have to know the coordinates of the restaurant I want to go to, right?
If you're in the city, you'd have to set it there the last time you're at the restaurant. But let's say you're out hiking in the mountains. We have very detailed topographic maps. You could actually put in a certain lake that you wanted to get to, and this thing would lead you. So one of the things that we're seeing is hikers are carrying these now to try to find their way around the mountains.
So this is like a safety thing, eh?
It certainly has that possibility. The best feature on here I found is man overboard. If you're on a boat and somebody falls overboard, there's a quick emergency button you push, and then it takes you back to that point so you can go and circle around and look for the person who fell in.
Now, you were talking about cars, car rental companies before.
Absolutely.
So is this like a little mini road map then?
Well, it can be. It can be interfaced. In Japan, they've already got the roads in there. Japan has a terrible problem because a lot of streets don't have names, and navigation is a nightmare. So one of the things they're doing is integrating a little CD that has the road maps, and you can actually sit there in your car, and it would give you turns. And of course, the next step is to talk to maybe a traffic helicopter service that works out whether or not the roads are busy and gives you alternate routing to your destination.
And where does this person come from? You have to call them up on a phone?
Well, there is a service they're trying down in New York State now where you actually do talk to a human being on the phone and they give you road directions. Avis Rent-A-Car is experimenting out of LaGuardia Airport with that. But I think ultimately it's going to get automated so that you have a little system in your car. The big challenge is that if they make it look too much fun, people will take their eyes off the flashing lights on the road and they'll have the flashing lights on here and eventually the police flashing lights behind them.
Well, no kidding, because that's a real danger, isn't it? You can get, you know, mesmerized by these things, staring down at it, going, oh, I see I should turn left. Whoops, now.
You know what they have in fighter planes, though? They have heads-up displays that are projected on your windshield. So my prediction is that that will be the next evolution. When you want to navigate with this thing, it'll come up on your windshield so you can still watch the traffic.
Oh, well, that'll do a lot of the old conjugal conversations in the car, I guess, eh?
Yeah, the other question, of course, is if you have one of these, people can find you if you connect it to a cellular phone, and they're using them to possibly recover things like stolen cars. They just put one of these in the trunk, maybe don't even tell you about it.
Yeah.
If the car goes astray, all they have to do is phone up the car and say, where are you? And they get it located within 15 meters.
Well, but who's paying for this, Tom? I mean, how come the American military is letting me use satellite 23 for nothing,
Well,
eh?
they need it, okay? What they've done is they've scrambled it so that you cannot get the same precision that they do, although there's some work being done to maybe sort of improve the precision. So we're down to about 15 meters, which they figure isn't good enough for you to drop a bomb, a smart bomb, targeted where you want. So it's kind of a peace dividend. I mean, it's one of the best things to come out of the military-industrial complex. We have something here that we didn't have to pay for and we can use for free.
Well, I love that. I'm not going to call it a GPS. I'll call it my peace dividend then.
Good idea.
It's much nicer. Thanks, Tom. It's
Thanks a
really
lot.
interesting.
Yeah, it's fun.
I can't believe this exists. Like, let me see this thing. So I could just, like, that just transmits to a satellite.
Yeah,
that little tiny antenna.
That's the part that I find the most fascinating. That you just call up 3 satellites. Oops, I see 23's
Exactly.
available.
So I won't need a road map for Manhattan. I can just sort of do this if
well,
it's in
I'm going to keep
LaGuardia.
this here, so I'm going to know where you are at all times.
All right,
Make
smart
sure you're
lunch
not flirting
coordinates
with anybody else.
49.6. We're on our way.
Okay.